I wanted to talk about the dynamics of the economic order quantity, EOQ. We're not going to go into the math here as much as kind of spend a couple minutes at looking at how things change on there. So the economic order quantity, if I drew this on a graph, looks at carrying cost versus order costs. And so what we're looking at here is if we look at dollars versus quantity, the carrying cost here is saying, hey, the more we buy at one time, the more we carry or sit on inventory, the higher the cost is going to be. But the counter is the cost to place that order. As the quantities go up, or we buy more at one time, cost to place that order goes down. So economic order quantity is at the point of intersection where the carrying cost equals the order cost. And it's not by accident that, order costs plus carrying costs equals total cost. And the lowest point on the total cost curve equals that EOQ. And that's where the carrying cost equals the order cost. And there's a whole formula behind it. The idea is, where do we find that balance point between ordering too much and too little? Now, we certainly get people who will talk about that, we shouldn't use EOQ because it kind of reinforces the use of waste by extra inventory. That's not what we're going to look at here, as much as what I wanted to talk a little bit about was kind of the dynamic that goes on when order costs and carrying costs change, that and really tie it back to some of the consumer behaviors you and I see, so we can understand the concept. So let's look at carrying cost first, the cost to carry inventory or sit on inventory. If interest rates go up, then the cost to sit on inventory again is going to go up. So for any quantity, okay, if the interest rate goes up, then the carrying cost goes up. So now we have this new carrying cost here for the same quantities. I'll just call it carrying cost 1. And if we look at that, look at the impact of that, down here it says, well, original quantity to buy would have been Q1, quantity 1. Now it's going to be here, I'll call it Q2. So what that's saying is, okay, if the carrying cost, the cost to sit on inventory goes up, then we're going to buy smaller quantities, Q2. And that kind of makes sense if you think about it, because if it's going to cost us more to sit on inventory, we don't want to bring in as much each time. So the carrying cost, or the cost we would cost, the amount we would buy would go down. So that makes sense. And that's the kind of thing I want you to be thinking about in this process. Works the opposite direction as well, that if the interest rate goes down, then the cost to carry inventory goes down. I'll call it CC2. And the EOQ goes from quantity 1 to quantity 2 over here now, which is saying, hey, the cost to carry inventory is going down. You can afford to sit on more from a financial standpoint. And that kind of makes sense for us too. If we now look at the cost to place an order, OC, think about this one. For any quantity, the cost to place the order goes up. Think about this like the cost of gasoline goes up. The cost to place an order, going to the store, then it's going to go to OC1. So the cost goes up. Cost of gasoline goes up, as an example. Then we see the EOQ goes from Q1 to Q2. We order more at one time. And again, that kind of makes sense, because it's saying, look, as long as it's costing us more to place that order or go to the grocery store, in my example, then we're going to get more of what we need at one time to help offset the cost of increased gas costs or fuel costs or whatever. And it works in the opposite direction as well. If the cost of gasoline goes down, so let's put that new cost down here. I'll call it OC1 again. The quantity goes from Q1 to Q2. So what it's saying is, look, if it doesn't cost as much to go to the store, then we can run to the store more often and therefore we can buy less at any one time, and it'll kind of wash out that way. So when the cost of ordering goes down, we can order smaller lots because we don't have to offset as high a cost to place that order, or in my example, to go to the grocery store.